at the minute, as I say, match conditions, you would not change absolutely anything. It's just so good. So good.
Hello you lovely lot, and welcome to the beautiful Shearsby Valley Lake. Proper venue this, folks. It's miles away from me, but I just absolutely adore coming here. Probably only fished it sort of 6 times over the years. It's changed a lot over the years actually. The lake we're on today, Tornado, used to be all joined with Hurricane, and then there's another little babby lake called, I'm sure it's called Willow, and then there's Sunset Lake as well, which has got pretty much everything in the whole wide world. But we're here today for a little bit of feeder fishing, and in particular using our fantastic Banjo XR feeders. Methods are great, yeah, love catching fish on the methods, but where I want to be a little bit more sort of precise with my fishing and, you know, really picking them fish out, getting the fish to come to actually my feeder rather than picking off from the edges, which they'll do on a method. That's what I want to go through today with you folks. So what we're going to be fishing is sort of like a medium-sized XR feeder to start with, or sort of hybrid style feeders, I mean, folks. Yeah, obviously we'll talk through why the difference between this and a method in a sec, but we're starting off on that. Hopefully getting quite a few fish in the peg, because there's blooming millions in here, and then dropping down to a smaller one so we can really get a fast bite. Starting off on bigger hook baits with this feeder, and then going into smaller hook baits with these. It's a fantastic way of fishing, and it's that trap setting that's so good this time of year, and especially in water that's got this much colour in. Yeah, setting them little babby traps, fish coming into your bait and just hooking themselves. It is absolutely superb. First things first, I'm going to run you through the tackle that I'm using to get job done today, and then we'll go through bait. It is so simple, folks. Literally, I've got some micros, bit of ground bait, and some Bandon wafters. But setup wise first, what have we got? First things first, we've got a 5,000 size reel. 4,000 or 5,000 is about right for all of your feeder fishing. I'm chucking to the far bank today, which is probably about 30 metres. I should bring one of them blooming laser things. My boy's got one for his golf. I need to bring one of them laser things so I can be exact for you every time, shouldn't I, folks? But it's roughly around sort of 30 metres away. I'm going to be starting off right in front of the peg. Yeah, it's sort of 18, 20 inches deep, I suppose, and with how much colour there is in, I think the fish will just be there straight away. That's a natural fish holding feature which you've got to think about. Obviously that's where, you know, keep nets are going in matches, but bait is getting dropped there as well, and it's constantly getting cleared out. If you imagine keep nets in there in a match right in front of you, when they go to weigh them fishing at the end of the session, it's getting cleared all the time. I'm not going to chuck to reeds where, you know, there's going to be dead decaying reeds from sort of like past previous years or what have you. Fishing into spare pegs if you can, it's far better than fishing into reeds. So waffling anyway, I can't help it. Mainline wise, we have got 8 pound sinking feeder mono on there, filled right to the spool, which is very important, you know, when you're casting, for the friction for your rod rings and what have you. Rod size, we've just gone for a 10 foot rod today, Superior X rod, with the lightest tip in, with our ounce tip in, just because there's a lot of F1s in it. I think there's a lot, yeah, there is a lot of F1s in here. There's also obviously a lot of great big wobbly carps as well, folks, but it's the fact that, you know, when them fish come into your peg, obviously bumping into your line, you will be getting line bites, but you don't want the fish to spook. So you notice when we are fishing in place, I'll be fishing with a relatively slack tip, cheeky, and that's all because I don't want to spook the fish. You know, if I am seeing the fish spooking, then I'll just slacken off even more, that kind of thing. Down to the business end then. To talk you through the rod and the reel. As I said, we're starting off on a 30 gram Banjo XR, or, you know, sort of hybrid style feeder. And then we've got, straight out of the packet, we are on one of these. We are on, I'll show this to the GoPro because I keep forgetting. We're on a 14s. Oh no, we're not, that's a 12. Oh, we are on a 12. No, we're on a 14s. I promise we're on a 14s, folks. So 14s MCMB to 0.19, straight out of the packet. So much confidence in that style of hook, folks, you know, sort of like that circle style of hook. I think they make a massive difference. And we've just got a little spiker on there so we can put our Bandon wafter on, which I'll talk you through bait in a sec. But I will be changing. The beauty of using something like this, that style of feeder, is when you're loading it up,
your bait actually stays there. Very little sort of like creeps off from around it. Whereas a method style feeder, let me get a method out of here for you. Yeah, you see the difference with a method as opposed to like a hybrid style feeder. So your bait on a method is going to sort of like start melting, collapsing straight away, so it's going to be forming a bigger area. Fish can pick your bait up around it. Whereas the hybrid style feeder, your bait actually stays compact thanks to these walls around the feeder. Yeah, so imagine your hook bait in there. Yeah, and then the fish coming into that, obviously it sees your hook bait and just nails it every time. Don't get me wrong, I love fishing with a method, but just thought we'd do something a little bit different today and fish with one of them. Now, the beauty of using a slightly larger feeder to start with, I'm not going to go, obviously we do larger ones as well, folks. I'm not going to go too big because it's summer. Where are we now? We're sort of like first week of July, fish are feeding, that much colour in the water, you can tell they're feeding. So if I put a big feeder on, I'm going to get a massive influx of fish straight away. I want to just build it gradually, so I'd imagine sort of 3, 4, 5 casts that I'll be getting enough fish in the swim that I'll be able to switch over to a little babby feeder. Yeah, and that's the beauty of our obviously ICS system. We can change feeders really quickly, and then hopefully we're getting quicker bites on that. Certainly if it's more F1 style, I'm not sure what I'm going to catch. I know there's F1s and carps in. If it's more F1s, I'll change quicker to a smaller feeder. If it's carp, then might be a little bit more patient. I'll stick with that size feeder. We don't know yet. But that's the setup, nice and simple. Next thing we'll come to is the bait. Now, bait-wise, fishery on pellets here, folks. Now, what I like to do with, whenever it's fishery on pellets, or if I'm just using my own pellets, what I do like to do is add a little bit of colouring. So all I've done with these pellets, I mean, they are quite heavily coloured anyway. I've soaked them for 30 seconds. They're a good quality pellet here at Shearsby Valley. They're nice Screttins pellets. I've soaked them for 30 seconds, drained them off, put them in a big bowl, and I've left them to get a load of air into them. Probably 20 minutes, something like that, folks. And what you'll find is they'll become really tacky, really sticky, absolutely perfect for moulding around the method. And what I've done, I'll show this GoPro here, so you can see. Let me touch the screen. I can see myself. I can't see myself, Jim. Is that working? Yeah, it's on. He's smiling and nodding and waving, folks. It's on. You can see there's a few red pellets I've got in there. So all I've done, I've used the Sonny Baits Haze krill and squid. Absolutely adore that stuff, folks. I've just got like a handful out, put it in a pint bait tub, drizzled some of that on, give it a little bit of a mix. Make sure obviously them pellets have got all that colouring on, and then added them back into the micros, and then you just see you've got the odd speck of colour. Now, it's one of them, folks, as I say loads and loads of times, if you've got confidence in something, it's going to make you fish better. There's 4 elements to fishing for me: feeding, presentation, in that order, accuracy and confidence. Yeah, so if you've got confidence in something like a colour or a certain bait, use it, because it's going to make you fish better. I've got so much confidence in that, folks. I mean, reality is probably when it's in the water, the fish aren't going to be able to see it anyway, but if they can, and that little bit of speck of colour, then yeah, I've had so much success with it that I can't not use it. So that is our micros. We've also got, and I've done some match method marine ground bait. There's literally sort of like a pint tub, and then I've put a pint of water in, just left it for 20 minutes and put it through a 4mm riddle, and that's what you're left with, a really sort of damp, over wet ground bait. Because sometimes I like to mix it up. If there's too many fish coming into the peg, then I'll drop the micros out and just go to a straight ground bait mix, or maybe do a 50-50 mix. Yeah, the beauty of that ground bait, will draw them in, there's no bait there other than your hook bait, fish see it, nails it, it's on. So I might be changing around on that. Hopefully we'll just be able to stick with micros, but I've got some ground bait mixed up just in case. And then the last thing as well, folks, is the band and wafters. We've got some little babby micros. We're going to be going over to them if there's a lot of F1s in the swim, and I will be changing hooks. I'll show you them in a sec. And we've got the 6mm that I'll be starting off on. My favourites. I can't not use pink, yellow or orange. It's just, for me, pink and yellows are my 2 favourites. But then obviously being strawberry blonde and a Viking, folks, you know what I mean, I do like the orange as well. So it's just one, again, it's confidence. It does make a massive difference, that confidence. Loads of other colours on there. You might have a favourite one, but for me, them are my colours to go to. Let me show you this other hook length as well. So again, straight out of the packet, folks. When we go to the 4mm bandems, I will be using them. So that's a 16's GPMB to a 0.13. You might think 0.13 with big carps, not going to get them out. Trust me, folks, you can get some massive fish out on them hooks. It really is good. And that's about it. The only thing I've not gone through is them. That's what I've got. Me, I always forget the blooming name of them, don't I? The ICM quick changey beads. Yeah, that's what we've got on the end, so we can like nice and quick change the hook length over, and obviously with the ICS system, we can change that feeder over nice and quick. What I've done already, folks, is I've clipped up sort of like a foot away from the far bank. A foot away is when I'm holding the rod a little bit higher, but I can go a lot closer if I want to. As I said, normally, if the water was a little bit clearer, I'd be starting off down the slope a little bit. But today, with it being so coloured, I think the fish will just be straight on it. And I can't wait. Notice I've got my rod rest as well. I pretty much want to point my rod to where I'm fishing. I don't really want any bend in it. You don't really need any bend in it for these kind of waters, commercials. Just literally just chuck it in, rod straight down the near rest. And yeah, hopefully we're going to catch loads and loads of fishes in, you know what I mean, and get away early, and I can go and sort of like get primed because football's on tomorrow, so I need to get into the swing of things and get on the base, folks, don't I? But now, join me, folks, and let's hopefully go and catch loads of fishes. Yeah! Yes, folks, here we go then, first cast of the session. So we're going to go for a pink Bandon wafter, because pink, I always start off on a pink. The other thing I'll do as well is I won't give any colour more than sort of 3 casts, and I'll always time it as well. So that is probably the most important thing with all aspects of fishing, but certainly like feeder fishing. My first 3 casts, I want to be like 3 minutes, something like that. It might be that later on in the session, if the F1s are having it like proper quick, you might be on sort of like 30-40 second casts or something like that, you know, really get that bait in, especially if we're going to a smaller feeder. If it's more carp, then generally, you know, 3 to 5 minute casts or something, but certainly my first 3 casts want to be within 3 minutes, and then what I tend to do is leave it sort of 5 minutes a cast, something like that. Obviously, that'll change depending on what venue you go to. What's that? Is that a boozard? Is that a boozard or the osprey? That might be the osprey. There's an actual osprey that visits here, folks. Jamie, you've got to get the osprey in. It is. Get the osprey in. Right, this is live on camera here for you, folks. Actual osprey at Shearsby Valley. Yes, I remember coming here last year and it was here. That's not a boozard, that. It looks like a massive seagull. Come on, Jamie, you got it on. Go on, the ospreys. I think he's named a lake here, Osprey, as well, after the osprey. Oh, yes. Sorry, folks, I love my nature, my birds of prey. As you know from the bird app that I've got. Did he get it? He's got it. Right, folks, back to the fishing. I was getting a bit, go on the ospreys. Right, so loading the feeder. Again, everyone's got their own way of doing this. Me personally, I like to put a layer on first. So you can see I've got a layer there. I like to do that nice and hard. So put the method into it, or the hybrid in this case. Nice and hard. Push that out, that's what you're left with. And then I like to do another little babby layer. Not as much, or not as deep on top. Bring your hook bait down towards the bottom, squeeze that method over the top, again pretty hard, and then pop that out, and that's what you're left with. If the fish are having it really quick, then obviously put your bait in first. No, put your macros in. No, how do you get it so it's on top? Put your hook bait in first, and then put your macros on top, and then squeeze your method. Oh, I keep saying method, like hybrid style feeder, banjo in this case. Put that over the top, and then your hook bait's on the top straight away. So that goes up to there, that goes back there, and this goes in there like that. Right, I'm not going to sink my line to start with, folks. I just want to see what that wind's like. If it's too windy, and then what I'd do is I would sink my line, but starting off wise, I just want to get straight in there. Hopefully it won't take too long. Started that stopwatch, we're on 10 seconds already. You can see I've got a little bit of a bend in that line at the minute. That is not bothering me in the slightest. The reason I like to get my rod straight on the rest rather than sinking my line is if you're getting quick bites and you can miss out on some of these fish, certainly if they're a little bit smaller sometimes, you know what I mean, you can miss out on them. And that's the other beauty why I like a soft tip as well, because you're not getting like the fish spooking off. This is right exciting, first cast. Good if it went round with a 10 pounder, wouldn't it? I say it's exciting, I don't know what's, well, I know there's carps and F1s in. Might be more carp than F1s, I don't know. Hopefully they're up here. Wind's howling down that way, but see, that's a liner straight away. Wind's howling down there, but with how this fishery is, I don't think it'll matter too much, folks. Right, so you can see now that line is pretty much sunk. There we go, line's sunk. So what I'm going to do is just take the bend out of that rod a little bit. Just move my rod up the rest a little bit and move on to that one. So I don't want much bend in that rod at all. There we go. So when I cast it in, I'm casting, bringing my rod back to like 12 o'clock. Feeder hits the clip, and then I'm just lowering my rod nice and slow, so I'm getting that nice plop. And that's what I'm aiming for. I've got that nice peg over there that's going to be cleaned out. So I'm fishing on a nice clean bottom, sea key, and that's what I'm aiming for. Go on the fishes. I'd imagine, I mean, I always say when I'm coaching, it's normally like third cast you can get your bite after a little bit of bait's gone in. I mean, it might be obviously we need to introduce a little bit more bait, but usually when you've got the fish there, that's when you need to sort of like drop the amount back so you're getting them quicker responses. Certainly more sort of like F1s rather than carps, but proper exciting. There's a little bit of we had a little bit of a drop back then. There's a little bit of toe on the lake. I'd imagine obviously with the undertow going down there, it's going to be kicking back, so it will cause a little bit of toe on the water. That's just natural. A few signs already. It's starting to twitch a little bit. We're coming up to 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 20. As I say, 3 minutes. First 3 casts within 3 minutes, and normally you get one on your third cast. See what's what, folks. You'll see what's what. But obviously, again, you know, in that shallow water, what you'll probably find is you might see tails, you might see bow waves, you know, signs of fish swirling there. Certainly when I go to move the feed, if I'm spooking fish, then that'll tell me that I need to leave it that little bit longer. Certainly if it's more so sort of carp. I mean, they're colouring it up sort of like round here, so they do want to be in that shallow water for sure. We've only got a few seconds left. And we're on 3 minutes. Got to be strict on yourself, folks, yeah? 3 minutes. Now, if I was getting a few signs, my tip was twitching, then obviously I'd leave that a little bit more, yeah? But as it is, I don't want to leave it too much longer, so I just want to get that bait in. So a little bit of excess bait in there, you can get that out, and then go same again. So, base layer on first, give that a squeeze down, little tiny layer, hook bait in, squeeze that in, make sure that's folded over, and then put that on the top, give it a squeeze down. That's what you're left with, perfect. And we're on it again. So a little bit of a lean out first, get your marker, and then punch it across. Perfect. That's on there, that's on there. You're looking for that nice plop every time, folks. Then we'll stop that. So stop, reset, start again. There we go. And what you can do now, just to speed things up a little bit, folks, what I'm going to do now is load this ready for next time. Yeah, just so that when I come back, even that light splits, you know, a few seconds, it'll save you. It'll save you in the long run, that. Just loading that feed up. So we're getting a few more signs this time. Second cast. Go on, it's going to go on the third cast. But if I'm not, go on the osprey, he's right close now. Oh, it's amazing. Might come and nail the fish if I get one. Oh, it's so good, folks. I forgot what I was up to. Yeah, second cast. Getting a few more signs this time. And I'd imagine the next time I'll be getting even more. It's usually what happens. After a little, you know, 2 or 3 casts, you start getting a few signs. Everyone's shallow there. So just get shallow rigs out. Hey up, yeah, there you go. So second cast and we're on. Yeah, so you saw I didn't strike into that, just literally just pick the rod up and keep everything nice and low. It's only a little babby one. A little, I need to check the drag, don't I? So what I do like to do, folks, I'm proper old school, I'll do back wind, but I'll make sure my drag's set right as well. Now you notice when I did hook into that fish, I didn't strike, just literally just lift the rod up and then just bend into the fish and make sure you got that nice healthy bend in your rod all the time. And when he's under the rod tip, that's when you can lift up. It's got to be an F1 this. Yeah, go on F1s. So if it's more sort of this, style of fish rather than carp, then obviously that's when I'd change. I mean, if you're catching fish and you're getting bites, obviously to start with, don't change anything. Now, because I have knocked that anti-reverse off, folks, because I'm proper old school, what I'll do straight away, put it back on, and I'll tuck that rod under my leg. Now, you see, now you can't possibly tangle. When I'm coaching, this is the most popular cause for tangles and snapping your tip. We don't want to snap tip, do we, folks? So make sure you've got a nice, healthy bend in your rod. If it's under too much tension, just pay line off with the drag that way. Fishing a lap, lovely. Pretend that's in the bottom lip. It's sort of like in the side of the lip, so we'll get away with that. Yeah, it's in the bottom part of the lip. 6 out of 10 maybe, 7 out of 10. He gets unhooked, he goes back there. Nice one to start with. Second chuck. I said third chuck, didn't I, folks? Shocking. Now, you'll see there's a little bit of bait in there, a little bit of excess bait in there. So we know we're squeezing that just right. If there was loads left in there, then you're probably squeezing it a little bit too hard. But 3 minutes is about right. Now, at this stage here, change that or leave it on. You know what I'm like for a fresh bait, folks. I'm going to change it. Or am I? No, I'm going to leave it. Normally, I'd change it. I would, 100% I'd change it. If I was in a match, I'd change that, but I'm going to leave it, just see what happens. And then you can see that split second being that little bit quicker. I've already got that loaded. Nice press down. Pull that out. A few more meat grazing. And bring that hook down towards the bottom so you can see I'm loading it. Down towards the bottom, give it a light press down, and then that over the top. I said that's the beauty of this style of feeding, you know, these sort of hybrid or Banjo XR feeders. The fish have got to come obviously to the bait rather than sort of around the edge. You know what I mean? Obviously the method is going to spill that out around the edge. So stop, reset, start again. Oh, it's so good, folks, isn't it? Absolutely adore feeder fishing. Don't get me wrong, I love my shallow fishing, as you know. I love waggler fishing, I love stick float, I just love fishing. Just can't get enough of it. I've got a bit of a bend in it now. There's a bit of wind on that, but that'll be fine. So that'll get another 3 minutes, because that's my third cast, and then it's going to be religiously cast every 5 minutes. Unless I'm getting like a lot of signs, then what I'll probably do is put a little babby feeder on and maybe chuck it, keep chucking every sort of 3 minutes if it's more F1s. If it was got a big ghosty there. If it was carp I was after, then I'd leave it that little bit longer. Don't tend to leave it much more than 5 minutes whenever I'm feeder fishing, certainly this time of year. But with F1s, more F1s in, then you just need to be chucking a little bit more not consistent, more often. That makes sense, doesn't it? More, what's the word? Not often, more regularly. Go ahead, Jamie. You know, Jamie knows, right? So I'm just going to take the tension off that. And there's one on, folks. Oh, this is amazing. So that's come 1 minute and 10 seconds in, that one. I think it's another babby F1. So at the minute I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, if it was going proper nuts and like you're losing the odd one, that's when I'd start changing things over. Start changing my feeders and that, you know, going little babby feeders. I think it's another F1 this. Let's come around this way. Proper though, folks, innit? You know what I mean? Third chuck. Second fish, so good. You see I'm playing them as well, yeah? Keep everything nice and low. There's no rush with them. And then when you see it swirl, that's when you can lift your rod eye. Little babby F1s. I'll bring them on this way. So good. Put that into reverse. He's unhooked himself, folks. Go ahead. Little babby F1s has unhooked himself. Beautiful little fishes, them. Proper little weight builders. That's what we want. I think he's left the bait on as well. Oh, he's left the bait on. Yeah, so we'll have another chuck on that. No point changing anything yet, folks, is there? We'll have another chuck on that. I've loaded him up again. And I'll see, even though like I'm fast forwarding everything, I wouldn't change anything at the minute. Obviously it'd be blooming boring for you lot to watch like a real long video of like, you know, well, it has gone a bit pongy now. So what I'll do, I'll fast forward in the scenario. If it had gone pongy on like a bigger feed after this chuck, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change to a little feed and show you what happened. Look at that casting today, folks. I have been watching the fin, that's why. Proper. Right, reset and start again. So that's 3 casts, so it'd be every 5 minutes now. I'm fully expecting to get a bite before that, but religiously it'd be every sort of 5 minutes. But what I'll do after this one, I'll sort of change things around. So imagine we're sort of like a little bit into the session and it was still F1s, no carp had arrived. and it's gone a bit pongy, you know, getting loads of signs, and you know the fish attacking that bait, not really having it, probably a few too many fish there, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change feeders, put a little babby feeder on, 45 gram, quite a heavy one, because obviously you're getting that nice bolt effect, but they're perfect for sort of like cutting through the wind, and I'll show you the difference obviously, and then changing hook lengths as well, and usually you get a quicker response, smaller baits than that, and that's what we'll do, I think. Fully expecting this to get walloped round again. It's amazing, love it. Just something about rod and line fishing, isn't there, folks? I just absolutely adore it. So good, so good. Right, so any time from now, that's when I had my bite last time. Once that line had settled and I let it all go slack, that's when I had the bite last time. And there's no mistaking the bites, folks. It's like ridiculous. Obviously, if it goes completely slack, you know that fish is swam back towards you. But usually it's a few taps and then it's just gone. No striking, no. We're fishing heavy, you know what I mean? Nothing's going to happen. But I see it all too often, people getting snapped just because of the striking. Don't need to. Literally just lift up and the fish should be on. It's weird me not changing that old bait though, folks. I will say that. Should I change it after this one? No, I don't think, no, I don't know. Should I? Probably need a few more fish there so I can show you the difference. So I'm fast forwarding, but blooming heck, we only had 3 chucks, haven't we? 4 chucks? 3 chucks. Hey up. Yep, see he's on. So we're just literally just lifting up into him. What's that taking? That's just 2 minutes now. And we're on to our 3rd fish. 4 casts. Have we had 4 casts? 4 casts, 3 fish, folks. Jamie's on it, he knows. Do I need to... No, yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say we're going to carry on for a bit. But obviously that's that style of that with that feeder. I'm going to carry on for a bit and try and get the swim going a little bit nuts, and I want to show you the difference with a smaller feeder. Is that all right with you, Mr. Cameraman? That is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do, folks. But at the minute, as I say, match conditions, you would not change absolutely anything. This is just so good. So good. And you want, see, here, well, just let me unhook this fish and I'll show you what I mean. And you know everything's going bang on, and you feel, oh, look at that one. What are we on there? That is like, he is 10. 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Are you on him? Jamie's on him. Go on, the cameraman, he's on him. 9.5 out of 10 there, folks. Yes, it just shows, obviously, with F1s, you're thinking, F1s are never going to take a massive fucking, you know, heavy up length like that. 0.14 to 14's up to 0.19, but trust me, they do. That bit there, so you've still got a little bit of excess feeding. That's when you know everything's like bang on. That bait is staying in there long enough for the fish to come in, see your hook bait and nail it. So, as I say, I'm going to carry on with this for whoever knows how long, until it starts going a little bit pongy. Then what I'm going to do is change over to a smaller feeder, smaller hook bait, if it's still F1s, and I want to show you the difference. If it's not and the carp buck up, then we'll just start rolling again and we can catch some big wobbly carps up for them ghosties. But yeah, join us in a little bit where hopefully it'll have gone a little bit crazy. I can show you the difference with smaller feeders. Right then, you lovely lot. Sort of half an hour's passed and the swim is building very nicely. So I want to go over to a little babby feeder, which is what I want to do next. Just have this last chuck on this big feeder. What's happening? I've not had any carp yet. I've probably had 8 or 9 F1s, you know, up to sort of like £2 maybe. But I've had like 3 little babby crucians as well, little like hand-sized crucians, beautiful little things. And I'm getting loads of like little twitches and all that on my tip. So what I'm going to do is experiment and go into a smaller feeder, like I say. So we're going to put that one on, quite a heavy feeder, so they do up themselves, especially with fish like blooming F1s and crucians and that there. So 45 gram feeder, and I'm going to put a small hook length on and a smaller hook bait as well, like a 4mm Bandon wafter. But it's definitely noticeable. No carp are coming in yet. So rather than sort of like just keep going in with a big feeder and, you know, getting them fish going a little bit daft, because I've pulled out of 2 as well, and I've missed a couple of probably proper sharp taps. It's probably is crucians, but it could be F1s as well. I want to see if a smaller feeder makes all the difference. Usually it does, but we're going live, folks, aren't we? And it's me. Anything happens with me, you know that. So I'm not going to leave this one too long. I'm going to leave this another couple of minutes. We're on just over a minute so far. Let's tell you what, I have been catching fish and I'd be quite happy. See, we had a little twitch then. I'm not happy with the ones that fell off, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's just one of them things. But certainly when there's no carp coming in, which usually you'll get like early part of the session, And I just want to experiment, as I say, and see if we can target them sort of, certainly F1s, by fishing a smaller feeder and smaller baits. Usually it does work pretty well, usually, so hopefully it will do today. The other thing that's worth noting as well, I've not really experimented, well, I haven't experimented today, I've literally picked my spot and I've chucked to it, is the amount of blooming rain we've had. Literally, all it did yesterday, folks, is pour it down all day, and it was raining this morning when we got here, is perhaps drop back into a little bit deeper water. Or certainly if you're not getting signs in that shallow water, just keep coming back until you start getting bites, or, you know, signs of fish. Look for line bites. Not had to do it today, but it would be something that you need to consider, certainly if you're not getting bites. Even though there's plenty of colour in the water, just coming down that slope a little bit into a 2 foot deeper water than where you're fishing, then that can make all the difference sometimes, usually. I mean, as it is, I've had odd fish swirling under my feet, so I know that they're coming into shallow water and they're quite happy with it. The other thing that can make a difference as well, I'm going waffling a bit now, is if we had a cold wind pushing on that far bank, that could stop fish going into that shallow water potentially. So again, just come back into a little bit deeper water. But I mean, I've got fish sort of like colouring the water up here. Don't think they're carp, I think they're like F1s and other fish. How long's this been in? So this has been in just short of 3 minutes now. I've not got to 5 minutes yet, really, folks. I think the longest I've waited is like 3. Yeah, there's another little twitch then. 3 minutes and sort of 20, 3 minutes and 30. But I'm gonna see if we can catch one. See if this one will develop, and then I'll come back, change feeders. Because I think that'll make. I'm convinced that'll make the difference. Just going that little bit smaller, a little bit less feed, but the beauty of, as I say, these like hybrid style Banjo XR feeders in our case, that bait is in that little tiny compact area. So you get another sharp bite then. It's in that tiny compact area, and the fish have got to come to that spot. I'm convinced it'll make the difference. I'm going to do it. Oh, no, I'll get this one in first. So what was that? 3 minutes and 40. I was just about to come back. You see, there's no. Usually when there's carp arrive, you'll see like loads of bow waves and, you know, a lot of commotion, but I'm not seeing any. It's literally just been all F1s and little baby crucians. I reckon that osprey's eyeing every single fish up that I catch. It's perched in the tree over there. Lovely fishing though, folks. It's so good. But hey up, did you hear him then? Did you hear him, folks? That's him. I've got another one of his fishies on. I'm sure we'll be able to catch these quicker, just going that little bit finer, a little bit smaller. He's ace, isn't he? He's a nice one, him. Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger ones that I've had. It's just about £2, maybe just a tiny bit over £2. Beautiful, beautiful ones. Right, so I'm going to change things up, and now I want to show you in one how quick and effective our ICS system is. So all we're going to do, take that top rubber off, take my feeder out, put that over there, take my up length off. Definitely not going to discard that, folks. That'll go back in the blooming packet, you know what I'm like. Put that over there, get our feeder. It's a 45 gram one, yeah, 45 gram one. He goes on. Slide him on. Cheeky. That down there. Tail rubber over the top, and then we're going to get out a little babby, as I say, GPMB, size 16. One of them ones. Is he on? Touch the back of it. Touch the back of it, Jamie. Nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Yeah, one of them ones. Size 16. To 0.13. I say if it was like, no, obviously this is just this style of fishing. If it's carp, you need to go much heavier. That pulls down there, and that's it, we're fishing. So we changed over in the water in there, but you can see how much smaller that feeder is, yeah, compared to the actual footprint size. Obviously a lot more bait going in that one, little babby amounts with this one, and hopefully that's going to make all the difference whilst there's these, you know, sort of smaller fish here. So we'll put a 4mm wafter on. Go on the wafters, go on the micro wafters. I've screwed them on a bit hard. Let's get a pink one on. Right on cue, the wind gets up. So that goes over there, that goes over there. Make sure that band's smooth all the way around, like that. Look at that little beauty there. And then, I have got a mould for these, but I forgot it, folks. What I'm going to do is put my hard layer on first. You can see there's hardly any bait going in there. Squash them pellets down, and then I'm going to bring my hook bait over. Put that into there, like that. And then just get a few micros in your hand. Yeah, I'm not going to obviously use all them. And then just sort of plug, and then bring your hand away, and then you're left with some micros just to push over the top. Yeah, just to cover your hook bait, and that's what you're left with. So hardly any pellets going in there, but enough for like a fish to come in, see it nice and quick, and nail it. Oh, them feeders fly so nice. Perfect. So hopefully we'll get a quicker response. Let's have a see. Doink, doink, doink. It's probably not going to blooming happen, but usually it does, folks. Yeah, and this is what I want you to see in real time, when there's like odd smaller fish there, not carp. And that's the beauty of that, certainly that system, but that hybrid style feeders, just getting them to come into that pinpoint accuracy. It's so good, so good. And it's nice and quick as well, lovely and quick. Rather than having a different rod set up with like a different size feeder, you just change them in a oneer. Change it in a oneer, can't you? It's just easy, isn't it? Easy. Right, come on. And they fly lovely, them little babby feeders. They fly absolutely like a bullet, lovely and straight. Unless just my casting is on point today, folks. I'm going for my casting's on point. What are we up to? Come on, yep. Had a little chamble then. Usually, as I say, with that smaller hook bait, see, smaller hook bait, you just see it and nail it in a oneer. Really good for, oh, yeah, see what I mean, folks? So that's taken, what's that? Just over a minute. That's the difference. Mad, isn't it? I was just going to say it might be a skimmer. Using it, they're brilliant for sort of like, oh, it's blooming fell off, folks. But nobody likes to see that. I reckon that was a skimmer. It was somewhat smaller. It's a slime on there. No, there's no slime. Could have been another crucian. Well, let's go again. Yeah, for skimmers in the winter, they're absolutely deadly. These little babby ones. Certainly this sort of like style of fishing as well. But even this time of year, you know what I mean? When you're on smaller fish, there's not as many larger fish present like carps. Get on them, folks. You saw how quick that was. It says just over a minute. Oh my days, what is going on today, folks? That's it. Let's stop that again. Doink, doink, doink. Perfect. See how the wind is, it's perfect. It's not moving me feed or anything like that. If I had a really bad, strong crosswind, then what I'd do, I would 100% sink that line. But we don't need to today. Yeah, skimmer or a crucian, that. They always blooming fall off anyway, don't they? They always do. And then obviously if you feel as though you're not getting as many fish coming into your swim, just change that back to a bigger feeder, get some more bait introduced, and then you can change back to this again. But look how quick that is. Again, there's one on that. There's one on that already. There was one on it. I think it might have been a line. I think that might have just been an F1 moving through. But it just shows you like things, how quick they happen with them little tiny feeders. Squash that in. I've not even had to experiment with the ground bait yet. I did mix a little bit up, 50-50 ground bait and micros, but I've not had to experiment yet. Oh my days, folks. My eye is in. Eye is in. Right, come on, this time. Give us a F1. Go on, F1s. Proper. Doink. Oh yeah. Much quicker, but again, tiny fish. We've had a bow wave over there as well then. Small fish, I reckon crucian or skimmer. It's going to be a little babby crewy. Come on, be a crewy. Go on, be a crewy. He's a little babby crewy. Look at the state of that, folks. Oh, how cute is that? That needs going in a tank, doesn't it? Absolutely stunning little fish. Stunning little fish. Get them all hooked. But yeah, it just shows you the difference, doesn't it? Putting that smaller feeder on, obviously you're getting loads more bites, loads more indications, but the fish aren't exactly the size that we want. But we're going to carry on, catch a few more, and then probably, you know, if it stays like this, I'll change back to that bigger feeder. Oh, a little bit of a drop back then. Is he on? A little bit of a drop back. Minute and a half. This is the longest I've had to wait. So I need to put that bigger feeder back on. It's obvious that, you know, I'm not getting as many signs again now, so I need to put a little bit more feed in, bring them fish back. But then if it went like it was before again, you know, change to a smaller feeder. So if you can target them F1s. But as it is now, that's mad that. We're on it dead quick, then all of a sudden, but it's like we're fishing clean again next time we go out. You know, putting that bigger feeder on. Sorry, putting a smaller feeder on. Letting the fish come and eat all that bait. So we're putting a bit too much in. Yeah. Little belly fish, that took 3 minutes now, so that took that a little bit longer. So I'm going to put bigger feeder back on. Bit bigger fish, better F1. Go on F1s. Go on F1s. That's the same size what we catch on that bigger feeder. Probably about, oh, he's unhooked himself. Same sort of time frame as well. Getting on, there's like a pound and a half, pound 10 or something like that. Beautiful fish. But what would I do now in a match? So that took that a little bit longer. What I'd probably do is change back to that bigger feeder. But it shows you, like, obviously if there's a few too many fish coming into your peg and we're getting all them lineage, you saw as soon as I put that little babby feeder on, it stopped all that, eliminated it, and we got proper bites. Yeah, we had 3 fall off, that little goujon, you had that little crucian. You know, if you are on a few small fish, rather than sort of like ignoring them, not getting bites at all, go and try and catch them. So now when I put that big feeder back on, I'll probably get an influx of fish again. It might go a little bit pongy, so I'll just change back to that little feeder. Just shows you you know, how versatile obviously that system is. But yeah, I'm going to carry on for a bit more and catch some more fishes. But as always, if you enjoyed these videos, folks, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and that'll tell you when we're putting these fantastic videos out for you. Cheers, folks.